Aaron Schutz with the Trinity County News, and I'm here with Laura Ellison and William Stapleton. And we're going to be discussing the Westwood Shores water situation and the mediation came back, the mediation papers that came back from Westwood Shores. We're going to be discussing that. I know a lot of people are very interested in what happened at that meeting and what their response is. And we have those papers now, so we're going to be covering that. And we had a meeting this afternoon with Joan Gallagher, the president. She's the president, correct?
Yeah. She's the president.
The president of the MUD board, and we had a really good meeting with her. And I really, it's the first time I've ever visited with her or whatever, but I really liked her, and I think I learned some things. But first of all, I want to talk about his hair. Do you see that hair? Isn't that gorgeous? You know, I want to hear about it, but I did want to make a comment because we discussed your hair earlier, because I like it. However, it's going to look really cute on little kids with gray hair.
With cancer.
Yeah.
But they can dye it.
Oh, well, tell us about it.
And the reason I grow my hair to the extent I do and further is I've had cancer 3 times in my stomach, and I still have positive markers. But my daughter came to me and she said, "Dad, your hair grows so fast and you don't have to lose it when they work on your cancer. So why don't you donate it to others? Grow it and donate it."
Yeah.
So I decided I would, and I asked the gentleman that cuts my hair if he could give it away for me. He said yes, and I said I want it given to children with cancer so that they can dye it and have their wish. And that's why I do it.
So I see it on your shoulder here. Hold it out so everybody can see how long it is now. So it's not too far from being where it'd be long enough.
It's getting close.
Yeah.
It's getting close to time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's amazing. I think that's a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I think it's a wonderful thing that people do for other people. Absolutely. You know, there's so many.
Thank you.
That have so many different needs, and it's awesome. Now, speaking of needs, we need to discuss this water situation because we've got a mess, and you know it's hard for me. I've lived here in Westwood Shores for nearly 16 years, and we retired here. My husband drove from the other side of Houston. He drove 2 hours every day, one way, and for 7 years, so that we could live here in Westwood Shores and be close to our grandbabies. And then he retired, and the last few years, you know, he spent with me. And but anyway, we had this wonderful retirement all planned, and he, you know, he took care of me, and he's an amazing man. But he would be horrified if he knew what was going on in my life and these other husbands in the lives of their wives who they've gone on, and we're here trying to figure out how to survive in an environment that really doesn't care.
Right.
And so I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to talk about this mediation and what you guys covered and what they came back with. It's very interesting what they came back with.
Right.
And I want to get into that, but right now let's talk a little bit about the meeting we had today. I know that I learned a few things because there's some things that have happened in the last 2 or 3 years that I've been like shaking my head going, I've never seen anything like this. And then when she went through some of the events that led up to it, then I could understand, you know, more.
Right.
And that was very helpful for me because I knew that it wasn't just stupid. It was something that they were dealing with and issues that they had to deal with. But there is a lot of stupid, and there's people that care, and there's people that don't. And I feel like there's a whole lot of the don'ts that are driving this thing. And so I want you to tell us a little bit about what's going on and what this whole bond issue thing is about, because a lot of us don't know anything about bonds.
Well, the first thing, Miss Gallagher was very nice, very personable, and trying to help us understand most everything. And she did a very good job. I did learn some things myself. The one thing that I could not get past is We do not have to do this all right now.
Right.
These problems can be worked on as we can.
Mm-hmm.
I know a 90-year-old lady in this neighborhood that she told me, she said, William, I have to get my son to help me pay my water bill now. She said, if it goes up much more, I'm going to have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been here over 30 years. She's one of the true Westwood Shore neighborhoods.
Right.
Neighbors in the neighborhood. And we need to look at these people and the people that can't afford it. We can do this work in increments. We don't have to do it over the next 5 years. We can do it as needed. We can repair things as needed. Out of 32 lift stations in their budget, in the engineering report, they have 2 being repaired. So your toilet's not going to quit working. You're not going to quit having water. That is not going to happen if you vote no on this budget.
Right.
And a lot of things need to be done, but they can, just like anything else in life, they can wait and be done in time.
Yeah.
That's my opinion of the whole budget thing.
Right.
They can be done incrementally as it's needed.
Right.
And there is something she was talking about that does need to be done.
And that's the 2 lift stations that she was
Yeah.
talking about that needs pumps. They're renting pumps right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that needs to be done. That's approximately $700,000 thing, and it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't argue that fact. But $700,000 is a big difference than $15 million.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that $15 million could have been spread across 15 years. Because Ms. Gallagher sit there and said, whether it was 5 years or 15 years, it was the exact same percentage.
Right. But what about do you have the engineer's budget thing there, proposal?
I believe so.
Let me take a look at it, because there was when you look at over the 3 different periods here, let's see. All right, I know it's here somewhere. It's the 3 different projects. Okay, so each project is going to be charged $100,000 for this and $250,000 each one. So if we did $1 million, those same figures would.
You would not.
Oh, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you would not pay, because these fees are a percentage basis. It's 2% for legal fees. So you're talking about they get $100,000 the first increment, then they get another $100,000 in 2 years or whatever, then they get another $100,000 in the last phase.
Right.
To where we can spread this $300,000 out 15 years if we want to.
And it'd be the same thing because it is
Same
percentage
thing,
based.
Because it's
Okay.
percentage based. All of these fees, financial advisor fees, bond discount fees, capitalized interest fees,
Right.
engineering bond application report, which was just to be able to get this bond approved, was $45,000 for each phase times 3 phases, $135,000.
Administrative costs.
Administrative costs, attorney general, and TCEQ. We have to pay these charges, but we don't have to pay them in a 5-year period. We can pay them in a 15-year period.
Right.
And people, what they don't realize is if this is approved, their taxes in 2024 is going to be an additional of what they're paying already. It's going to be $400.
So
And then-
explain that.
Okay, so like I'm paying roughly $800 in MUD taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Next year I'm looking at 12. And then at the peak of this, as the bond goes up and the money's dispersed, it's going to go be an additional $800. So I'll be paying
A year.
$1,600 a year.
So by 2029, I'll be paying just in MUD taxes $1,600 a year.
So-
Plus the other taxes are gonna go up. Your
Oh,
school taxes are gonna go up, your county taxes are gonna go up.
How are those taxes figured?
It's per $100,000 of the value of your home
Uh-huh.
from the tax assessor's office, the
Right.
one that you get in the mail from the county.
Fortunately, my house, I live in Coach Village, and my house is not an expensive house. But I do know that some of you guys live in some very nice homes, and you do pay a pretty high tax right now. That increases, I mean, that takes away from so many other needs in our lives, especially when so much else is going on, and there's so many other things that are being, raised and whatever, such as POA fees. But anyway, let's talk about the mediation.
Well, what I was gonna bring up before the mediation.
Okay.
What brought us to this point was our February 1st rates that went up.
Mhm.
That's when we filed a petition with Public Utility Commission, to go against the rates that they were increased.
Right.
Because an average water bill in Westwood was between $60 and $80.
Mm-hmm.
The first increase that went in effect in December, our bills went up roughly about 120 to 140, and then February 1st, our bills went up above 200.
With these numbers and the average household, I mean, I don't use a lot of water, but you have a family, and it's you and your
Just
wife,
me and my wife.
and but like I said, I have a friend that has a lot of kids, a lot of family, big family, use a lot of water. So how much difference would their figures be than what you'd be paying now for, say, well, you said you use 6,000 gallons?
Right. So
Okay, so tell me what.
So before mediation, my water bill would run with 6,000 gallons. My base rate was $188.75, and my water was $4 because they're only charging $1 per 1,000 gallons.
Right.
So my bill roughly was about $192.75. And then if you average the extra 3,000 gallons, which are up to 6,000,
Mm-hmm.
it's $195.75. With the new mediation prices that they've offered us starting in January of 24, they went down on the basic rate, but then they went up on the water usage.
Right.
So where I'm paying right now, $195.75, I would be going up to $208.
For the
there's
same
no
water.
difference. There's no difference. I'm going up. I'm losing.
Well,
So
there is
now,
difference.
now to everybody out there that signed this water petition that Laura has worked with tirelessly, they actually offered a settlement of raising our water bill once again.
And that does not include how it affects our taxes.
Right.
It doesn't include any of the extra. Plus, you got your tax and all the other stuff that goes on.
Everybody that signed
Crazy.
that petition should be offended.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about the how this is affecting the community, and we know that everything is going up. We live in a world of absolute weirdness, and everything is going crazy, and everything is going up. And but what's happening here is it's abnormal. I mean, yeah, you go to the grocery store and a can of something is $1 today, and tomorrow it'll be $1.50 or $2, and next week it'll be $3. And we're dealing with that everywhere.
Absolutely.
But they're not doing $1 at a time. They're doing a whole lot more, and they're affecting people like me. I would love to actually live on my income without having to give it all to live in my house. I'm serious. My house is paid for. We paid it off in 2016.
Right.
And yet, I still pay over $500 a month. That's before they get a hold of us with more taxes. $500 a month to live in my home that I have to pay Westwood Shores. And or through the tax, whatever. But it's ridiculous. I see so many women who are hurting, what they're doing to us. And it really gets me that the other night, I sent the question in about the money, I don't think I used the word widows, but about the people who are on fixed incomes, because a lot of us are. And what do? And it's a struggle, and a lot of people are going through it. But one of the men on the board, I was floored, because I really didn't feel any serious compassion. And I don't feel compassion coming from a lot of them, because they don't care. And the thing is, his comment was, well, there's what do we call it, that utility where they help you with your utilities? You got to be in desperate straits for them to pay one bill.
Right.
You have to be below poverty level, and if you own a house, you are not below poverty level.
But they said that they'll take care of us. That's what the men said at the board meeting. So
to me, that's a slap in the face, because everybody's struggling to pay their water bills. Oh, by the way, you can apply for government assistance to pay your water bill. No, let's make our rates affordable.
And I hear people say, well, you might not be able to flush your toilet. That is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You not having water in your home will not happen.
Right.
If we do not give them this bond money.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Most of this bond money is for future projects and things that need to be done. They honestly need to be done, but it doesn't all have to be done at once. It can't be all done at once, because it's over a 3 different time period. 2024 and 2026 or something, but 3 different increments of $5 million.
When they take on this bond money, you pay more and more and more each year. Mm-hmm. Not more 5 years from now or 15 years from now. Every year that rate goes up. Now, they showed in a graph at the meeting Monday, which I was not at, but I've heard about, and I saw part of it today on video. They show a graph where it shows that it'll go up to a point, peak, and then start coming down simply because of growth in the neighborhood. The growth in the neighborhood has all but stopped. We're down a little over 2% growth rate. And that's not the 11% we enjoyed years ago. At 2%, that is not going to decline very fast.
So what is the graph based on?
It's based on the amount of homes and the value of the homes. Mm-hmm. That's saying that in 5 years, we're going to grow 5% each year. Mm-hmm. And every year, 5% is
so
more and more new
growth.
Homes. Yes, it's based on 5% growth, but 5% this year might be 40-something houses. Next year, 50-something. Mm-hmm. The year after that, 60-something.
Right.
As it grows. And the value of your house, I don't know about yours, but mine has dropped in the last year.
Oh, mine has too.
Probably about $40,000. Mm-hmm. Everything on the real estate websites, you see houses being cut $20,000, $40,000. How can they say we're going to grow 5% when we're not? Use real numbers. Do not let this scare you.
Right. Well, I know I was considering selling my house last year, and of course I was on Zillow, and I was paying really close attention to what they estimated my house for, and I went back on there the other day because I haven't done anything in a while because I changed my mind about selling my house, and I was floored at how much it had dropped. I mean, it nearly $40,000, and I was like, wow. I mean, there's no way. It's crazy.
It's affected, our rates. It's affected our value of our home, and now they're looking at the bond that's going to affect our property taxes. They're getting nothing but the ratepayers.
Well, when it affects the value of your home, it affects your rates. It affects your personal finances. Mm-hmm. It's going to affect the stress level that you're under, your health, and everything else.
And I'll tell you, people are looking at Westwood Shores and shaking their head. And they're like, the people that don't live here, people that are even considering buying here.
They're don't even believe you when you say how much you pay for what. Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But people think They think we're idiots for living in a place like this. You know, they do. I mean, I talk to a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people talk to me.
Why do you still
But
live there?
It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And anyway, I do hope that people will be able to see the bigger picture and not be scared into doing something because we gotta have it. It's gonna, we're gonna fall apart. We're never gonna have water again. That's bogus, and the truth is, there's a lot of people that can afford this.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people that can afford it. But my thinking is there's a lot of people that can't. And when you say there's a lot of people that can't, they just look at you and go, so?
I believe there's less that can't afford it than can. I do believe that.
I asked one person that's a proponent for the bonds,
Right.
flat out, what happens if a person can't afford them, loses their home, or has to sell their home? And I was told that as life went on and you got older, that you could have to do that, downsize, or even move into a rest home.
Yeah.
Now that's the compassion that's being shown.
Right.
That should affect everybody.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people like ourselves move here to retire. And now our retirement is gone. I mean, it's absolutely gone. And it's like, this is, my husband and I, we pastored for nearly 40 years, about 37 years. And we've lived in parsonages. Or he was in engineering, or my ministry, I moved to different states and did different jobs in the ministry. And so we never bought a home, ever. We lived in parsonages or we lived in rent homes. When we moved here, when we bought this place here, it was our home. And that was 16 years ago. And when I think about all those years I wanted to buy a home, we never closed on a home until we moved here. And that was the greatest day in my life. And it's being taken away from me. The joy. When I thought about selling my house, but my husband and I, we built our life together, and we built the last 16 here.
Well, with the property values where they are, you can't afford to sell your house.
I know. And I'm just hoping that people will hear the whole truth. I mean, it's great. It'd be great to have all these whatever you call the things, pump thing stations or whatever.
Lift stations.
Lift stations. It'd be nice if we could just run out and buy one, but we can't. I can't go buy a new car just because I want it. I have to budget. I have to plan. And I'm sure you do too, have to plan. If I want to buy something that I can't afford, I figure a way. But I go in there with the money in my hand because I've saved it and I've figured out how to do it. But I don't put myself in a strain where I can't live. And that's what they're doing to us. My husband used to use an example of the buggy. I don't know if you've ever. I was a big roller skater when I was a teenager, and I love to do the bullwhip. And if you've ever done the bullwhip, there's people on the end, and you got this long string of people, and you're rolling together, and then somebody does this and turns, and when they do that, whole string of people turns, and the guy on the end flies off and hits the wall. Every time. In fact, I had a broken arm from hitting the wall just right. We're the ones that are flying and hitting the wall. We're the ones at the end of that. And the guy in the front, he doesn't care. And that's what I'm upset about. I can live with just about anything. I always said I can handle anything as long as I know it's temporary. But this isn't temporary. This is constant. It's continuous, and it won't end unless the people make it end.
Right. We stand up for what's right.
Exactly.
Amen.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And sitting down with us.
Thank you,
And
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to finding out just how this all works out. And you know, it's normally when I interview people like this, it's over a situation they might be going through, but I'm going through it too, and I'm very, very concerned about how this works out. And I thank you for all the effort you're putting into it, and we'll see what happens.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
All right, thank you.